We're delighted to welcome our next guest. Liz Carter, President and CEO of the Scripps Howard Foundation, joins us. Liz, it's wonderful to see you.
It's so great to be here, Jessica. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. It's an incredible time. The campaign returns this year, If You Give a Child a Book. And this is a campaign that is critically important in these times and very important to the Scripps Howard Foundation.
It is. We really believe that, people across the country can make really good decisions for their own lives if they have good information. That's what journalism, that's what the news is all about. But if you can't read, a lot of that information is just not available to you. It's out of your reach. And you need to learn that in the first few years. That's the point of this campaign.
Literacy, childhood literacy especially, begins early. I was reading that can be impacted as early as third grade as a benchmark for future educational success. So starting early is key. And with so many disruptions that we've had in the last several months, it's more important than ever to provide that access to children.
It really is. I mean, you summed it up. If you think about by the time a kid's in third grade, they're maybe 10 years old. All the way up until that time, they're learning how to read. After that, they use their reading to learn. So if they haven't learned those skills by the time they're 10 years old, they begin to fall behind. And what that means for their life in the long term, kids who can't read by third grade are far more likely to grow up and be on welfare, to be unable to provide for their families. They are less likely to graduate from high school, much less college, more likely to be incarcerated. But if you can give them that skill, if you can teach them to read by the time they're in third grade, their chances of being civically engaged, voting, having a good job, graduating from college, that all goes way up. So if you really think about the difference you can make in those first 10 years, it's just really unbelievable. So important.
It is incredibly impactful when you think about that trajectory, starting with the childhood literacy and that future impact to all of our communities, to have a whole sense of communities. It's important to start early, and the If You Give a Child a Book campaign puts books in homes, and that's key, especially now.
It's amazing to me. When we first started this, I thought, well, how important are books really? But as an indicator of success in reading, it's one of the top things that a kid needs. It's actually more of an indicator if a child is going to learn to read than whether their parents are literate. So, for the cost of 10 or 12 books a year, we can give kids that key that'll carry them through the rest of their lives.
The Scripps Foundation is our parent company, so we will share that. Of course, there are stations across the country that are Scripps affiliates. The stations are working in tandem to make sure that this happens, and Scripps want to ensure that those children have access to books. How is that happening?
Well, typically we go into the schools and we have a book fair where the kids can just pick the books for themselves, no charge. And I will just tell you, Jessica, those kids, they steal your heart. They are so sweet and adorable and thrilled to be able to have those books and be able to keep them. We know this year with everything that's going on, that may be a little bit different. But no matter what happens, whether the kids are learning remotely in school or a combination of those two, we are going to get these books to the kids. We have that commitment.
And it is so admirable. It really is. Can I ask you what was your favorite book as a child?
Oh, well, absolutely. It's the best book ever written, which is The Ugly Duckling. So I just remember learning to read and sitting on my grandma's kitchen floor and reading that book and feeling so proud of myself that I could read. And I love the message. I love the message for the kids that we deal with who are low-income kids and have tough lives, and that message that no matter what your life is as you start out, you can grow up to be the beautiful swan. It can happen for you, and we can help that make that happen for those kids.
And I think in tandem with If You Give a Child a Book, it brings that excitement for parents to share this experience with their children too. Parents and grandparents and guardians and just whole extended families to take the time and read together.
Oh my gosh, it is so important. And I mean, anybody that's a parent knows that wonderful feeling at the end of the day, whatever the day has been like, of sharing that book before bedtime. And, I always think that, yes, it's the gift of reading, but it's also the gift of that beautiful moment that parents and kids can have together.
Beautifully said. Liz Carter, thank you so much for making time.
Well, thank you so very much to you and to the folks there at the station and the viewers, and we can't wait to get these books to kids.
I know, and we want to encourage everyone watching today that if they're able to participate in If You Give a Child a Book, it will make a big impact. What's the best way to do that, Liz?
The simplest way is just to go right to station website, and there'll be a link there, and you can go online and make your gift that way. And, very simple, very short. Within 2 minutes, you can give a kid a gift that'll last a lifetime.
Absolutely. Liz, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Absolutely. And the link is active now, so you can visit WTVR.com to find that direct link. And the campaign is active now, If You Give a Child a Book.
The Scripps Howard Foundation 2020 If You Give a Child a Book campaign is underway, and you can donate through September 30th. For more information, visit WTVR.com/giveabook.